Hey, what is up, guys? I am Hippie, and today we have a very special Wynncraft video, and I think it's time that we finally do this. I was getting ready to do it, but I think now that Corkus is on its way, that I think we should do it now. This is going to be the Corkus Library, the lore room. So before we can do it, though, we're going to have to come here to these cords, and we're going to have to get this key in order to get into the library first. So I'm on this ship, and I'm kind of running up like these ropes, I guess. These little like, I don't know what these are called, but these things, you see them on pirate ship all the time. And then when you get all the way up to the top, you see this other rope that's running all the way along. Drop down onto there, come across here, and now you're on the other post or beam or crow's nest, whatever they call these things. I'm not a pirate, guys, so I don't know much about them. All I know is like ARG and eye patches and stuff. So you're gonna come back up here, and now you got another rope. This one leads across, and you can already see the item over there. It is a electromagical key, I think it's called. Battery, yeah, a device able to keep storing electromagnetic energy, perhaps. So there you go. Now we're gonna come here. This is a little town of Ravos or Revos or something. I can't remember how it's pronounced, but it's this little town near Corkus that you're allowed to go into. You can explore almost everything, and up here is this room, and there's a mechanic in here. Now, I didn't talk to him in the video, but he just basically says that this looks like it'd be the entrance to the library. If he can figure out how to get in, maybe he can learn more about the history of Corkus. Relos is the town. So you throw the mechanical chip in that hopper, stuff starts lighting up and going to the middle, and then boom, this like big like circle of things, and purple light lights up. You know when a purple light lights up, something intense is about to happen. So then you're going to go through here, you're going to get teleported, and you're in the library on the first floor. Now, this is a really cool library. I really like the way they did this. So, let's go ahead and get started. Now, I can't actually show the scenes like I do in my other lore videos because we can't actually get into Corkus yet. But I can put on the black bars and try to make this super, like, cinematic, right? I guess let's go ahead and do that then. Let's go ahead and put some black bars. Black bars always mean cinematic. No one knows exactly when the province borders formed between Fruma and Wynn. Such tales are lost to the time. The Ragni Mountains that dominated the landscape have served as a natural barrier between the contrasting lands. There is only a strange, well-traveled passage through them to connect the two. The border has been closed for over 1,000 years and is strictly regulated by the mysterious governing force of Fruma. Immigration has always been entirely a one-way system. People leave Fruma and enter Wynn. People who wish to attempt the opposite are more than welcome to try, however they are met with a hail of aggression from the Kashi, the Fruman Royal Guard. The slow release of the Fruman population into the province of Wynn began 1,000 years ago at the start of the Wynn corruption outbreak. What is peculiar about the situation is that none of the recruits seem to know anything about their origins. Information about Fruma is scarce to none due to this mysterious amnesia. The one-way arrangement has been in place for so long that it has become entirely normal and mostly unquestioned. 350 years ago, however, a splintered group left Fruma through the mountains on the northern coastline. This was a feat previously thought impossible due to the unnatural mountain range and another heavily guarded passage. These rebels were highly skilled workers who, much like the Wynn recruits, lost their memories of their origins once they passed through the mountains. Confused, scared, and vulnerable, they migrated to a large island close to the northern gate, the island of Corkus. Back then, Corkus was an entirely independent, peaceful, and self-sustained nation. Its sole inhabitants were the Avos, a bird-like humanoid that colonized the rocky terrain and steep cliffs long ago. Avos' history is relatively unknown, but their beliefs and practices were entranced in spiritual and natural magic. Avos are truly one with nature and respect all living things, which explains their willingness to grant asylum to any refugee who washed up on the shores, regardless of origin. Thus began the era of the Corkins on the island. But while the Avos gave an inch, the humans took a foot. The Avos granted them their own borders, and they steadily grew over the years. Today, the humans occupy the majority of the island. The new Corkians, while still reserving the legal right to occupy and govern themselves, do not own the island. Although the lands are internationally recognized solely as Avos territory, a self-sufficient neutral island, the real story is quite the opposite. Over the 350 years of dual occupation, tensions have grown between the two civilizations. The Avos, still clinging to their old spiritual beliefs, occupy the highest mountains, where it is unfeasible for the humans to live. The Corkians in the lowlands have forged a truly industrial nation. They did not possess any magical knowledge when they departed Fruma. Such power was restricted only to those at the top of the Fruman hierarchy. However, left to their own devices for a few hundred years, skilled Corkian workers soon discovered they were capable of harnessing the most obscure of the arts, electromagic, the magic of machines. They utilized the plentiful natural resources of the island to develop the most advanced and magnificent creations to aid them in everyday life. Currently, while tensions are at their most severe, neither the Avos nor the Corkians are seen as the enemy. Both have remained allies for the most part. The Avos have enjoyed the advanced medicine and aid from their industrial adept human guests, while they have maintained their traditional hunter-gatherer lifestyles. However, one major disagreement between the two groups has caused a rift between them. The Avos are fundamentally against the environmental destructive wake left by the humans, and in response erected a wall as a symbol of their displeasure. The Corkians did not react at all, instead attempting to maintain their positive and peaceful relationship with the island's owners, without ceasing their industrial activities. The ocean has been considered a neutral buffer zone between the three provinces for some time, leaving the occupants of the island somewhat unrepressed, with the exception of Selcher. Corkus, however, is no exception. The Corkians seek international recognition from the other provinces as one of their own. While the Avos simply wished to exist in harmony with the wind and waves, this was not enough for the new occupants. The basic human need for recognition kicked in, and the Corkians were determined to get it. The method is not through conquest or economic domination, but through the display of their technological might. The Corkians are indeed ahead of their time. The closest the villagers ever got to an independent machine was a horrific mix of flesh and steel. Thus, the machines of Corkus were impressive. They paled in comparison to what they called their national monument, the factory. The factory is a massive facility from which all of their machines originated. It is capable of producing an army in a matter of weeks. It would surely prove to the other provinces that Corkus is deserving of the international representation, especially since it may prove to be indispensable as a tool against the corruption. Teething problems have proved to hinder their plight for recognition. The electromagical force that governs the factory seems to have an agenda of its own, and some machines have rebelled against their creators. The resourceful Corkians have since shut down the factory to fix the problem. However, the land is still scattered with pockets of desperate mechanics searching for much-needed spare parts. Once they solve the problems of the factory governing force, Corkus is likely to become an international superpower. Their ingenuity and industrial progression can no longer be ignored, regardless of the Avos situation. Alright, so that is the lore of Corkus. It's about time that we got it out, since it's going to be coming out in roughly 41 days. So, yep, that's basically it for now. Thank you guys so much for watching. I have been Hippie, and I'll see you guys next time.